initiative for the Cameroon conflicts, because there is not only the Ambazonia conflict in Cameroon, there are many other conflicts. So I have seen how some people who are very itchy to destroy others have in the past days decided to blackmail Dr. Nick Santos that he is working with La République du Cameroun in order to bring about a peace task force for you people. It is lies. The Peace Task Force Initiative for the Cameroon conflicts is an initiative which is being influenced by the United Nations, the United States Department, and African governments, countries around the world, governments of countries around the world, who decided to get into talks with some of us, leaders, to see how they can resolve the many conflicts that are taking place in the Cameroons, including the Ambazonia conflict. So, it is an initiative which is coming from our hard work, our personal connections and ties with the U.S. State Department, with the United Nations authorities, and all other representatives of governments in Washington, D.C., and New York, and elsewhere, whom we have contacted to ask about the resolution of, or request a resolution of the conflict in Cameroon, including the conflict in Ambazonia. So it is not only meant for resolution of the Ambazonia question, or the Southern Cameroon question. So the Peace Task Force Initiative is a non-governmental organization which has been duly registered and is functional, which is trying to get in touch with authorities to see how leaders of the various, or the stakeholders of the various parties in conflict can come together in an international peace summit to discuss about the problems that are plaguing our homeland. And in that conference, you're going to have representatives from all governments, international observers. You're going to have representatives of the United Nations. You're going to have representatives from the Cameroon government as well. You're going to have all the frontline leaders of our revolution who have to be invited in that conference. So for someone to go out and start blackmailing a conference that the organization committee has not even started work, have not even started on the invitations. They are still brainstorming to see how all the leaders can assemble in Canada come summer 2020 for a genuine talks and discussion. We are not imposing that. In that conference, it is federalism that is going to be discussed. In that conference, it is independence that is going to be discussed. In that conference, it is federation or decentralization that is going to be discussed. We are just creating a platform whereby all the frontline leaders will be invited. As they say, they are scared of going to homeland, including myself. We can assemble on a neutral venue, which is Canada, in 2020. In that Canada, everybody will be free to say how peace can be carried out, if it means that peace without justice remains the motto, of which I believe in that. Justice will be carried out and peace also will be carried out. It's a package that comes together. So if some people are trying to do diplomatic works, if some people are trying to contact places that some others cannot contact, if some people, by virtue of their professionalism and the international contacts that they have, are able to talk with some dignitaries that some cheap scallywags and activists cannot be able to have those connections in those high offices. And then if we have those kind of connections and we have entrusted the leadership duties that we have, which is that all of us cannot be fighting the war on the battlefield. Some must be doing negotiations at the backyard, some must be doing diplomacy, and some must be talking with one another or leaders of various governments to see how we can come to a successful conclusion to not only the Ambazonia crisis, but a lot of other crises that are all in that nation called Cameroon. So we of the Peace Task Force Initiative are not dictating. We are not dictating independence. We are not dictating federalism. We are not dictating decentralization. We simply formed a task force to brainstorm on how we can handle this issue because we have the keys to some of these high offices. So we don't want to be misquoted by cheap activists with no professional and academic portfolio on the international domain come into the revolution and they want to think that everybody has to be thrown under the bus. That will not be the case. And Dr. Nick Santos, the Ngambe man of the revolution, will never be thrown under the bus by anyone. I am telling you people that this has come to stay. It is an initiative which is being worked with the international community. It is not an initiative with La République du Cameroon. It is not. I even heard about rumors how Eric Tataw went on air and was talking about Diongute belonging to a forum with Ngambe man Dr. Nick Santos. Let me inform Eric Tataw and to quote to him and let him ask if he knows people working in Yaoundé and everywhere. Let them tell him that the Prime Minister has not got time for WhatsApp forums. The Prime Minister has not got time for WhatsApp forums because he has his own duties of the state that are so heavy for him. You can say that someone is dedicated or someone is talking with us about how we are going to organize the Peace Task Force initiative in agreement with the United Nations and the U.S. State Department to have that international conference for all the frontline leaders and representatives of government, including 2 ministers each from African countries who will be there as observers. The United Nations shall be there. Maurice Kamto shall be there. Frundi shall be there. It is not only the Ambazonia issue or the Southern Cameroon question that we seek in that conference to address. So if we are trying to come up with our personal initiatives and then we share it with some of you people, both in the revolution and out of the revolution, that should not become something that people will say, oh, this is black leggism. Oh, this one is yellow leg. This one is black leg. Everybody is black leg. You say anything contrary to what they want to hear, you become a black leg. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's high time we have to appreciate efforts. While others are fighting, we have not said that the others should stop fighting. We have not said that we are not for independence. We have not said that we are for federalism or we are for decentralization. We have said that we are trying to strategize amongst ourselves, brainstorming with leaders across the board, with international organizations and institutions, with the U.S. State Department, with the Office of the Secretary of African Affairs, Tubo Nagi. We have been discussing and trying to see how we can assemble on the table on a neutral venue, which is not Yaoundé and which is not Cameroon, in order to see how the government of Cameroon equally can be represented so that we can talk about peace and justice and a solution to this problem. Please, ladies and gentlemen, I come to you today to explain to you and to dispel this rumor that this Peace Task Force initiative for the Cameroon conflict is being sponsored by Yaoundé or sponsored by any prime minister or whatsoever. They are all lies. They are lies that are being brought forward because, according to some people of this revolution, they think they are the only ones that think something should come out from them, which you people have to follow. Sometimes, some of us, even a child who is from Southern Cameroon or a child from La République du Cameroon, can lead a leader to light. Some of us hold keys of some doors that people do not hold by virtue of our academic and professional lives. I'm a humanitarian professional, a doctor in the United States. I make good monies. I don't beg from anybody. Before the revolution, you knew me. Before the revolution, you knew me so well. You knew who I am. You know my lifestyle. You know the kind of everything I have. The revolution has instead subtracted than added what I had, because I've invested so much in the revolution. Energy, time. Just imagine that I was using all this time to give lectures in a university for 4 years. How much would I have amassed by now? I've heard rumors about people saying I bought a new home somewhere. Those are all lies. And even if I buy a new home, I am qualified to buy a new home. My 1 month salary in the United States, which is $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, can serve as a down payment for buying a home in America. Buying a home just means you put your 1 month salary down and you move in and sign a debt over your head. That is how buying means. Buying does not mean you pay cash. So people lie a lot. Oh, Dr. Dick Santos has bought a new home. He has moved in a new home. We saw him advertising his new home. Everybody, I'm a doctor. I need to have a new home. I will have it. I need to have a limousine. I will have it. I need to charter a plane or buy a plane. I will go and sign my debt and start paying and work for the rest of my life and be paying. And that is the life in the United States. You people should understand what it means buying in the United States. As a Gambian man of the revolution, a psychoanalyst, I come here to counsel you people about the Peace Task Force initiative for the Cameroon's conflict. It is an international initiative with the United Nations, the African Affairs, with the U.S. State Department, with the governments of Britain, France, and other countries that will all be contacted, and as we are already doing, and even the government of Cameroon will be an invitee, will be an invited guest. The others, frontline leaders, Cho Ayaba, everybody, Sako Ekome, Seseko represented by Yerima, everybody will be invited, and that is not in Cameroon. That is a neutral ground whereby the topic on discussion will be peace with justice. Whether you come here and you say, we hear about Ngala Gerard, we hear about Susie Parks, we hear about Yannick Sikot, we hear about this and that, those are not the invitees. The people who are building that framework for that thing to happen are people who are coming from all cross-section of the community. You have people from Santos camp, you have people from Ambazonia camp, you have activists, you have social media activists who have formed just a task force of people to brainstorm on how appropriate it will be to organize this conference. So it is not yet a death sentence on us that we have refused independence to Ambazonians, or that we are standing on the way to independence, or we are standing on the way to federalism. No, this initiative should instead be appreciated. The SDF will be represented. The Santos Party will be represented. Cabral Libi will be represented. It's a Peace Task Force initiatives, which means anyone who will be coming to meet us there for the Peace Task Force initiative should be coming to seek peace with justice and to explain how he or she thinks this issue can be resolved. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just came to dispel those rumors about working with La République du Cameroun to organize a peace task force. It is just because, when people feel that something is not coming from them, it is wrong. When people think that you are talking on your own self and trying to impose on them, or you are trying to do something which is not their own, or which must be in consultation with them to build a foundation, they should go out and anti-campaign it, and then put out smear propaganda out there and crucify it before that initiative arrives. But let me tell you people, this is a very good initiative because it's going to be in Canada come this summer of 2020. We have not yet selected a venue. We are still brainstorming on how such an initiative is going to take place. If any of you want to be part of the initiative, you communicate with me and I will send it to the appropriate quarters on how such an initiative can be convened. Propositions are welcome. But the fact is that you should understand that most of the frontline leaders have not received invitation for any of such a meeting because the meeting preparation was still at the primary stage. So I come here today to clarify on all those rumors you must have heard from naysayers and people who rush out, or cheap activists who are easy just to jump on free social media and talk cheap talk and look after criticizing others. This is the end of such anti-smear campaign or whatsoever that they are doing against some of us of this revolution. It is not a La République initiative. It is an initiative which is in collaboration with the international community. The international community. And it's a peace task force initiative for the Cameroon conflicts. And everybody is going to be invited. So keep your calm, hold your breath. You're going to be part of it. When the time comes, the leaders who are itchy, who think that this can be a coup d'etat against them, they should know that it is not a coup d'etat. It is a meeting in good faith. It is in line with some of our professions as humanitarian professionals who are tired of seeing bloodshed and who are tired of seeing weapons on both sides of the aisle, who are contacting these high offices to see how we can meet somewhere and discuss about arriving at a peace with justice summit. It's not only peace, but peace with justice. And so when you see an announcement, it's like a book. When you see the cover page of a book, do not tell the story about the content of the book. That is what most of these frontline chief activists are doing. When they see a peace task force initiative, they panic. They panic, and the first thing they should do is to blow an alarm that is calling for peace without justice. Who tells you that peace does not come with justice? Peace comes with justice because justice means everybody acknowledging where they went wrong and also revealing what crimes have been committed and the victims or perpetrators brought to book by in one way or the other, and there is peace and reconciliation that takes place as well as penalties. So if by end we are not saying that it is an independence conference, it is a federalist conference, it is a unionist conference, it is an international peace conference to discuss about what is happening in the Cameroons, what is happening across the board, the conflicts that are ongoing. And so don't be quick. Don't listen to anybody who is quick to judge a book from the cover. Don't listen to anybody who is trying to store the way for peace, who is trying to store the way for justice. Because you must have known that I have been in this revolution for the past 4 years. I've been a frontline leader all through. And I know that some people are making good income from the revolution, that they are scared. They are scared when you talk about the revolution ending one day. They are very scared because it is from the money of the revolution that they are paying their rents, they are driving their cars, they are buying new suits that they have never worn before. You know them. And so it's a sweet market. It's a sweet market and unending market for a lot of these activists. And I've always pointed out that they are fighting over money most of the time than fighting for independence. And it's as if the independence was proclaimed today, they will still be fighting because they will fight for something else because they have not eaten well. Some of us are not begging from the revolution. We make good income. I don't live on that. And I can assure you that I am coming to you people in earnest and in good faith as one of the ground organizers of the Peace Task Force International Initiative for the resolution of the conflicts in Cameroon. And this does not only entail the conflict in southern Cameroon or the crisis or the war, it entails the problems that are happening in the other regions, in the other parts of the country, and what solution can be sought as well as justice be done to wherever the wrong might have gone. So let me assure you, and I come back to you today to reassure you that I have been silent. The Ngambe man of the Revolution Regular Program went mute. It didn't go mute for no reason. It went mute for a purpose. It went mute for a purpose. It went mute because at a certain time, you have to come to appropriate realization that with the factionalization and destruction of the struggle by egoistic power mongers and monetary pursuits individuals who are fighting for their personal aggrandizement at the jeopardy of innocent people who cannot interpret this kind of things. I have come to realize that we have to do the right thing to be remembered in history for the appropriate reasons. And that is why, as a humanitarian professional and as a doctor in the United States who stands and swears by the values of my second home, which is the United States of America, I will work in line with their policies, and I will work in line with policies of major governments of the world, which stands for peace, tranquility, and humanitarian values to be respected. I will not follow a cabal of syndicates who are out to enrich themselves, steal people's money, kidnap people, behead them, and take the money to pay their rents in the United States and be wearing new suits and driving new limousines for the first time in their life. Buffoons who have never gone to school in the United States come and talk about journalism, who has not had even a bachelor's degree in the United States for journalism, let alone going to a community college. You come and talk to people who have buried their heads 7 years in studies in the United States to tell them and brandish them that they have joined La République, whereas they are trying to work in line with what the international community deems as right. what the international community deems as right or appropriate is peace, humanitarian values, and the restoration of the dignity. We do not say the self-determination is excluded, because self-determination of a people is an inalienable right that can never be stolen from them. So it's high time to sit on the table and talk about our self-determination, our autonomy. What we seek will be debated upon, and whoever wins the debate at the end of the day takes the victory. But to go out and in a hasty mood to criticize and condemn people or throw people under the bus because you think that only your values must be respected is a no-normal. It's a no-normal. We have freedom of speech, freedom of expression. In as much as we are in a struggle, we must differ with one another, because if we do not differ with one another, all of us will be escorted like lambs or sheep being taken to an abattoir or to the slaughterhouse. That will not happen with me, Dr. Santos. I have never been that kind of a person that will stay quiet when I see wrong. I'm a whistleblower, and my job is counseling and mental health, which means I'm a coach, I'm a psycho-educator. And if I see things not going right, I have to call whichever party to order. Right now, the situation in the struggle has not been good, because people have hijacked the struggle and they are using the struggle for their personal aggrandizement and to committing atrocities. At a certain time, you even ask yourself, who are we really fighting? Are we fighting ourselves, or we are fighting for a common goal? Because after you will destroy this person tomorrow, the next day you destroy the other one, the next day you destroy the other one, and the destruction continues until, if we were, let me say we were on ground zero or somewhere, arms or guns would have turned towards the head of one another. Today is this person, tomorrow is this person, until you take down all yourselves. Most of you people have proven so immature for a revolution, and a disgrace to a revolution, a disgrace. And that is why some of us, like elders or like eye-openers in the house, must come and stand up and man up to defend our professional values, our integrity, to defend what is right. We live in a country of law. We live in the United States where they have laws. They have laws, and there's freedom of opinion, freedom of speech. When you say something, it doesn't mean you will be given a name. Oh, you are a black leg, you are a yellow leg, you are a red leg. Every day, shouting on one another. When problems happen, we go to the bottom of it. We uncover what happened with my trip to Boya. It's no more news. I resigned from the first interim government because of my trip to Boya. But when I resigned from the interim government because of my trip to Boya, Eric Tataw came on air and never challenged that fact until 1 year after he came to sing a song which I had sung. That's to tell you people that I am on the right side of history of this revolution, and at this particular moment, I am still taking another right step in the right direction, which is the Peace Task Force initiative for the resolution of the conflicts in Cameroon or the Cameroons. So it means we're not going to be inviting only Ambazonian leaders or Southern Cameroonian leaders. We'll be inviting the other political party members. SDF, John Fundi will be there. The New African Coalition, which is a new organization, a new political arm by Marshal So Foncha, will be there. Seseko, Ayok Tabe's representative, and you know where I belong. You know that is my man. I can never let him in Yaoundé. And if I have to do all it takes to remove those leaders from there, I will do it. Just think about the fact that I am working with these people, and tomorrow you hear Ayok Tabe Seseko and the others have been released. Would that work not be appreciated by you people and applauded? Must it come from a so-called sheep activist to take the risk to do some of this job for you people? And let me remind you, most of these things I am doing are in approval by the interim government itself. Members are there, members are working with me, even in the Transitional Restoration Council where I belong, members are there, members are working with me night and day for these things to happen, but they come in front of you, they are not bold enough to look at you in the eyes and tell you people that they know what Dr. Santos was working on. All of us must not move on the same path and be escorted like sheep to the slaughterhouse. We hold our private keys to several offices and several government officials, that we can use them sometime to our advantage. To our advantage in the fact that we are striving for our self-determination and autonomy. We are striving never to have a repetition of what has been ongoing in the years to our children, our brothers, our sisters, our parents, and whosoever. And nobody will stop us from doing that. Because if we were not for these ideals, we would not have been strong in this revolution for 4 years. But believe me, ladies and gentlemen, I assure you, and I want to reassure that this is not a La République initiative. It's just because people want to kill the initiative because it's not coming from them, and they have the inability to carry out the work, the good work some of us can carry, or they do not have even that stamina and intellectual portfolio to open the doors to these offices. So let me assure you that we are working for your interest, but those naysayers and those distractors or detractors, they want to distract you people by killing any initiative coming from anyone from outside. And we shall not allow that to happen with the Peace Task Force initiative for the Cameroon's conflict. It's going to take place in Canada in summer 2020, and we are still preparing the groundwork for that international peace conference to take place. And let me assure you that all of you people will be left to judge for yourselves whether most of the leaders who are fighting for this struggle or are fighting in the other conflicts are genuinely for their people and for resolution of issues, or they are striving to aggrandize their own wealth as the other one did with $2 million from my trip to Boya. You will judge from this Peace Task Force, International Peace Task Force initiative, which will be organized in agreement with the United Nations, the US State Department, and governments of the world. And La République will be invited just as an invitee, as well as all